Kitchen lighting is so important, and it's usually overlooked or it's misunderstood. So today we're going to go through a kitchen plan. I'm going to show you how it works and why it doesn't. And you can apply those principles to your plan so that yours does work. Here's the kitchen plan that we're working with. In a previous video, I went through why this kitchen does not work as far as the cabinetry and the layout. But for today, we're just going to look at the lighting because there's enough to do with just that. When you look at your lighting plan, you should see some common symbols. The little circle with the lines through it, that's an outlet. This one here, that's a sconce. Over here, we've got some pendants. And then we have our famous hi-hats, pot lights, recessed cans all along here. Different architectural firms will use different kinds of symbols, but they're all fairly similar. Also, you can see under here we've got under cabinet lighting over here, and then over here by the microwave. And we've got GFCI switches here on the counter. We don't have one here. First mistake. We don't have, if I want to be nitpicky, the dedicated circuits for the oven, the refrigerator, and the cooktop. They need their own special dedicated circuits for heavy appliances. Before we get to how the light falls in this room, let's look at how it works, because it just doesn't work. Now, first off, if we're coming in from the back door here, this is sliders here. We've got two outdoor sconces outside the back door. What we don't have is a way to light the room when we come in the back door. This switch only lights these two. So I'm standing here in the dark. I've got to struggle all the way over here to light up this kitchen. Another problem is this is a three-way switch here. You see on this wall with the pocket doors, and this switch controls all of the hi-hats in the entire room with this other switch. So that's the three-way. Two switches, all the lights. That makes three. The problem with this is it's on a pocket door. You see that there? This outlet too. Pocket doors don't allow you to put things within the wall, like junction boxes or outlets or any of that kind of thing. So this can't happen. When you have a pocket door, you basically have a blank space. Whatever the width of that door is on both sides, nothing can happen on those walls. You can't put a junction box. You can't put a switch box. You can't put an outlet here because you've got to let the mechanism for the door work. You can't drive a screw for a heavy mirror there. So that's another problem. Over in the top left corner here, we have a Wi-Fi cabinet, and I'm assuming that that's going to be all of the electrical, audio-visual, security, big-time stuff for the house. And there's no GFCI in there, so that's a mistake. Also over here, this is near water. That needs to be. Now we've got two GFCI outlets here at the end of the island and two under the counter over here. First up, this one. If I'm walking into the room, the last thing on earth I want to see is two outlets staring me in the face when I've just paid for all this pretty decorative end panels on my island that match my cabinets. I'm going to be staring at two outlets. That doesn't work. They would be better suited to be hid over here somewhere. The other two are over here underneath the countertop. You can see them. I don't know if that's to code. I know where I am, you can't do that. And when it comes to the switches, I've got a three-way here that controls all of the hi-hats around the room and over here. I don't want to control all of the lights in my room from one place. For instance, if I want to work at the sink right here, do I need the rest of the room lit up like Coney Island, or do I just need where I am at the sink? So it might be better to have some switches here that could control along here. Now let's get on to the spill of the lights, or how the lights are going to fill the room. I'm going to assume that this has a 9-foot ceiling and that the electrician has ordered some fairly generic, common recessed lights that have about 35 to 45 degree beam spread. So on a 9-foot ceiling, that's going to get us about a 4-foot pool of light on the floor. And that's not 4 feet and then the light dies. There is spill, there is overflow of light. So the light will continue throughout the room, but the quality light is within that 4-foot diameter. So if we start to lay out how these recessed lights and the pendants and the sconces are going to fill the space, you're going to see some more problems. So let's get to it. This is about what a 4-foot pool of light is going to look like from that can. So let's put a couple more of them over here. There you have it. That's the kitchen all lit up. That's about what the lighting will provide. This one is actually going to be a little bit tighter because it's going to hit more on the sink. It's going to hit 3 feet above the floor. These pendants as well, although I'm going to give them a little grace because they're going to be wider. The sconces on the wall will cast light 180 degrees. So you can see once the lights are laid out that there are some holes. This is a simplified plan. It gives you the idea about whether or not the lighting is effective. Now, these lights are actually going to cast more light, so they're going to have more of a spill glow around them where you'll get more light being kicked off from the bulbs, but it's not good quality light. This is just that I've got enough light to find my way, but not good light. Now, you can see all the lights from the recessed cans, the under cabinet light that's going to give you light on the counter over here. The problem is we have a lot of holes. You can see 3 really big ones that are a safety concern are at the doorways. There's not enough light at the doorways where you enter the room. That should be well lit, and it's not. So I would have a light, sort of right there where you're going to get light on you. The other thing I notice is they're lighting the path, but they're not lighting where you need light. I need light to see what's in the pantry. I need light over here to help out with the under counter light, which is never enough. Same thing over here. There's no additional light besides that under cabinet light for this entire countertop. This is just going to be spill. And in fact, when we get to these 4 around the perimeter here of the island, when you are seated at the island and you pull out your stool and you're sitting right about here, right about here, right about here, right about here, the light is hitting you right at the top of the head. Now you got a little bit of light coming from the pendants. That'll save you from looking like Night of the Living Dead, but it's not ideal. Those lights would be better suited pushed over here, lighting that, and have the spill light be the walkway behind. All right, what else is wrong with this light? So we don't have light in front of the pantries. We don't have light in front of the ovens when we take out the food. We don't have light on this countertop where we're going to be working right beside the sink, or on this side. We don't have light on either side of the sink. We have one light here that's going to give us spill light on either side, but this is where I would be doing a ton of work, and there's no light there. Because the cooktop sits underneath a skylight, you see these 2 dashed lines over the island? Those are skylights. They can't have a hood. They would have to have a downdraft of some kind. So there's no light over the cooktop. In daytime, sure, you'll get pure sunlight blazing down on your oven, but at night you're going to count on light from these other lights, and that's not ideal. When I walk in and I turn on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 hi-hats, that's ridiculous. What are the wattage? If that's a 60 watt or a 7 to 9 watt equivalent in LED, 13 of them in a 12 by 20 room, that's ridiculous. It's like an operating room. It's like the sun. If I just want to work at the sink, just me in the sink, I want this light to have its own switch over here, and maybe add a few more lights along this strip for working. That's all I have to say about that. The tendency is to cover every inch with recessed lights. 13 is a lot in a room that's 12 by 20 feet. A dose of common sense goes a long way. Do you need that many lights? Remember the other lights that are in the room and what isn't getting lit. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
I don't cross my T's.